Hello.
Ooh, we're live. I should probably get my life
Can you
together.
check? Oh, look, it does look quite fetching, doesn't it? All right, so we just had to do an update on all of our mics, and of course I left it to the very last minute.
We're good.
All right, so hopefully our sound will be a lot better. Welcome to TWL, as you can see. Oh, you're not even being seen over there.
I think you see me.
Move this a little bit, just a half of you. The only time I want to see half of you is when Art cuts you in half. Right? So, anyways, any hoo-ha's.
Any hoo-ha's.
What do you have there? Is that Facebook?
That's Facebook. I'm pulling up IG.
We already have 2 people on there.
Right now.
Look at us. We're in our director's
We're
chairs.
in some chairs today. Isn't that
We're
crazy?
in chairs today because we're going to talk a little bit about Halloween. What it means to us, and we're going to talk about boundaries we set for Halloween, and then we're gonna get a little bit into boundaries and what's good and not good. When it comes to boundaries. Because y'all thought it was so great when we talked about swear words.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
About boundaries
that was
now.
like everyone's favorite thing.
I know, isn't that funny? So give us some hearts if you can hear us, you guys. I can't see who's on.
Cool.
From this far away because apparently my glasses are not strong enough. After you pay $400 for a pair of glasses, no matter what they are.
You would think your body
You would think I'd be able to see.
Right?
Right? I see some hearts. Was that you?
It wasn't me.
Oh, I love it. So you guys can hear us pretty good. I think the update made a difference.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I wonder if that's our stuff because we had yesterday at Caffeinated Conversations, we had a fun day. If you guys haven't had a chance to look at the blooper reel that we posted, it's hilarious. But
it's worth the watch. Go find
it. It is
that.
worth the watch, trust me. But we had bad sound issues, so I wonder if we need to update some of that stuff.
It could be.
It
could just fix a couple of internal bugs.
Right. So we're gonna, and show different. We've got the different. I built up some of our animatronics back there. I think it's pretty cool that you guys can see back there. I hope. Because we still got a ton of Halloween, and Halloween is Thursday.
Yeah, it came by so quick, and I remember
did.
everyone always asking about Halloween, and now it's here, and we don't see
I
nobody.
have a little green hat, but it's too far back. You can't see it. But I have my hair is either A, too thin, or B, too short. There. Now you can see it. Ooh. See, the orange looks good on you.
Thank you. The blue looks good on you.
We were looking for little Art the Clown hats.
Little tiny hats.
Right. I had this fantastic.
Oh, that's what was tickling my leg.
This is what was oh, look, you can't
What's
see
up,
her
girl?
face. Look, isn't she pretty? Anyways, this animatronic, actually she looks quite high on there. Oh, I don't have batteries in it.
Oh, I was gonna say,
It says press her hand. This is how preparedness works. You don't put batteries into the animatronics you're going to show because, heaven forbid, you want to show what they do.
Doesn't she sing like "I want candy" or something?
Oh my God, she does. I want candy. Okay, they're gonna all shut up because of me. So you can probably sing. I cannot, right? So, anyways, we have a ton of animatronics left, which are fun to have because the one thing I'm gonna tell you, the world is changing.
Yeah.
When it comes to vintage Halloween decor, and I say that because people aren't putting their rare blow molds out in the yard in fear of them vanishing.
Sure, which is completely understandable.
Right. So when Steve and I do something for Halloween, and we're not going to unfortunately be passing out candy this year, we put all of our blow molds because we have a lot of vintage blow molds. You guys, we put a lot of our blow molds out. We put all of our blow molds out the morning of Halloween, and then they're out all day. But we're home. Somebody's home, or they don't go out until we get home. So they're out a total of like 5 hours.
Right.
And
it's just not worth it to taste the risk.
Right, because otherwise you got to bolt them down next to your house, and what fun is that?
None at all.
Exactly, right? And when you have a blow mold of like the Universal monsters from the 50s and 60s, from what's his name?
Bela Lugosi?
No, I have Bela Lugosi, but who made it?
Oh, Featherstone.
Featherstone. Oh, I'm telling you, Don Featherstone. They're going to disappear.
No, yeah.
The Bela Lugosi's a $500 blow mold.
And mine sits in my living room and never moves.
And ours is in our garage until the day of, which is sad because we could put them in our window in the house. Look at me, I'm slouching.
We're relaxed
We're
today.
relaxed. So we, so that's what we do. And then the kids come and they, they're all lit up and everything. And it's fun looking.
Yeah.
And I wish I could do that for a couple of weeks beforehand.
Yeah, but it's
because Halloween's one of my favorite holidays.
And you're talking about the super sad, unfortunate part of Halloween where things can get broken and stolen, and I have to deal with everything being pink and purple and white for Halloween this year.
Why?
Amongst the age ranges of 18 to 32, pastel Halloween.
There is not blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, tell me about it. If you haven't been into Michael's, bless.
Pastel Halloween.
Everything
That's
is
like
pink.
having a Black Christmas.
Yes, practically. I mean, honestly, that'd be kind of cool.
Well, not very. Yeah. So I guess we shouldn't really put it down.
But it's a little bit of a bummer when you go into a Halloween
What's
store.
pink and pastel?
That's
like
what I'm saying.
The pumpkins.
The pumpkins are
and
pink
stuff?
and pastel, and they're
Okay, you know that they make a pink pumpkin. It's called a gourd.
LOL. You're so funny. But it's like all the Halloween stuff. It's not even about being scary anymore.
Nature makes one. I know. Well, Halloween doesn't have to always be scary because a lot of these animatronics are not scary.
That's true, I guess.
I'm gonna put we need a table right here.
Do you want me to hold it?
To hold all of these. So, Lisa, my mom. Hi, everybody. We got some people on.
Oh, cool.
So, 32%. I thought you plugged it in.
Oh, it'll last us the whole show.
Oh yeah, that's true. Unless it gets good and we have 1,000 people on and we end up staying on longer. Then we plug it in. I'll hold it right here.
Oh, okay.
And so, I know you did some facts and stuff about Halloween. I did no research for Halloween.
We didn't need to.
We don't really need to. With Halloween being Thursday, we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening after Thursday as well.
Sure.
But, I love Halloween, but I don't love pastel Halloween. What do you feel about pastel Halloween? Tell me, you guys in comments, what do you feel about pastel Halloween?
I feel like it really took away the appeal of Halloween because if you guys remember our last Halloween show, we talked about the significance between orange and black and what that really meant to the season of Halloween. And
right.
I feel like if we're going to start changing the colors of everything, it just like, I don't know, I'm not against it, but it's just like personally not my cup of tea, and I'd be really mad if I walked into someone's house and everything was pink and white and
I wouldn't be
yellow.
mad, it wouldn't feel like Halloween to me.
What's that say?
Barbie Halloween, all pink, LOL. Yeah, now that I get.
That's like a little bit different.
That I get, because it would be pink and black, it would be, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Like, okay, let me put it to you a little bit more in depth. Like, I don't know what it is, but like
I can hear myself talk on yours.
The ghosts are wearing this one right here.
My mom don't like it.
Exactly, me neither. The ghosts are wearing like cowboy hats. Everything's disco ball.
Right.
Like why? It's like it's unnecessary.
I'm all for a good disco.
No, me too.
That
but
I
at
am.
the time and the place.
And if you have what is it that has a disco head?
Like the ghosts will be
okay,
like disco.
So if you have one big ghost that has a disco head and you hang it in the middle of the room and then you put all black light in and you turn it into an actual Halloween disco, that would be fantastic.
Yes.
But if it's in a room of cupcake and pretty flowers and stuff,
that's what I'm saying.
No.
That's like Halloween's supposed to be like ugly.
It is. Well, it's supposed to. We're supposed to, and not going based off the true meaning of Halloween.
Right.
We look at Halloween as a celebration of the grotesque.
Right.
Okay. And when I say grotesque, I use that word in its full meaning.
Leave it here.
In its full meaning that grotesque it could be something that I think is beautiful and you think is ugly.
Yes.
It's just different.
It is. It's different.
But
I mean, this comment really, it hit it on the mark. It says, I think it's pretty, but I also like a Black Christmas and I think a Pink Christmas. Both of those are suitable because they have like Christmas trees that are white. You know what I'm saying? They have black Christmas trees.
Well, Christmas back in the 50s and 60s, they would have metallic Christmas trees.
Right.
And then they would put all pink or they would put all black and pink. And it would give a festive look.
Sure.
Even though it's pink and black and it's not your basic red and green.
Right.
Because, over time that morphed. And yes, I guess my love of horror over trumps my understanding that things grow.
Right.
And Halloween grows. So it is a matter of it being black and orange and stuff like that. But over time, they put in other colors. Like, for instance, we have green face. We have all black and orange. I was going to be like, everything is... Okay, so...
Okay.
So something like this with these candles, and I'll show them up closely for you. See? Like these candles. These candles are an orange and black. and purple, but they have
Red.
glitter.
Yep.
They have glitter. Now, would you consider glitter a Halloween thing?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Off the top of your head, glitter usually goes with festivity.
Sure.
Do you know what I
there
mean?
You go. Yeah.
If you think about it on that aspect. But glitter, of course, glitter comes in all colors now, so you can glitter up something orange and orange. But so we're using multiple colors here. We got a pretty purple candle. You know, I get it, but just too much of one thing. It's like walking into a room of Pepto-Bismol.
Right. It's like they kept calling it Summerween instead of Halloween.
That I wouldn't.
And
do.
I'm like, no, dude, we still celebrate Halloween in October. That doesn't happen in the middle of August.
No, we're not changing that. The reason now, because pails are coming in different colors, stuff like that, but they mean something. Steve, don't forget to mention Erebus. Oh, I won't forget it. I'm wearing this shirt. And this one's going to Erebus soon too. Tomorrow. But so, it's fun. Haunted houses. I'm not going to walk through a haunted house that's all done in pink and pastels. I mean, I would like to do that anytime.
Right.
It doesn't have to. You know what I mean? That would be fun. Go to Meow, if you will. But it's a lot of fun.
I guess it's mostly just like. I guess I'm an old person when it comes to this. Like, I like traditions to stay the same. That's why they became traditions. And I know that there's going to be someone that's like, well, that's why traditions change every year or every couple of years. And that's why you got to have new things.
Well, traditions don't usually change every couple of years.
Exactly.
They should be carried down. A true tradition.
Right.
Inherited. But
speaking of colors, you want to talk about...
Sure. So we're talking about pails, and we're talking about... we said that we were going to talk about boundaries a little bit, and
we're still gonna
because the pails and stuff like that is we have to set boundaries with our children on what they're going up and doing. We got to understand the boundaries of our children, of other people's children's, meaning that they may be non-communicable, non-verbal.
Right.
They may be on the autism scale.
They could have allergies.
They could have allergies. They could have everything. And I'm gonna have people who will shout out and say, well, then, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that. It's Halloween, don't let them have the candy. That's not what it's about.
Right.
It's about the enjoyment of the person who's doing it.
Right.
And when we hand out candy, it's enjoyment for us too, but we're doing that for the people walking to our door.
And I guess like over the years, as I got older, I really learned the magic of family, if that makes sense, because Halloween could just not be celebrated everywhere else around you, but if your family and the people around you are being festive throughout the whole season, I feel like that will also teach children that it's okay to still trick or treat and go out and dress up and yell trick or treat at someone's front door, because that is more fun than just ringing someone's ring doorbell and then just waiting there for them to come to the door.
But there are ways of understanding if somebody does have a special need.
100%.
That when they walk to the door, and we try to make it easy for everyone. As a society, we try to make it easy for everyone. So what are some of the things that people can look out for this Halloween?
So one of the number one staples is going to be the colored pails that we have. And the colored pails are sold everywhere. CVS, Walgreens, Meijer, Walmart carries them. We actually have a couple of pails that are color coordinated as well with what's going on
Should I grab
this
them?
list. Sure. They're hanging up. Grab a couple of the boo buckets because those are the only actual colors we have, which are white and purple. We do not have any teal right now, but the teal ones are still prevalent in all major retail stores.
And let me ask you something, because let's say that we have, and with prices being outrageous, and we'll talk candy and stuff in a little bit, but not every family can afford to go and buy these things.
Which is completely fine.
Which is fine, but let's say they're walking up with the same color, but maybe it's a pillowcase, or maybe it's a grocery bag, or maybe it's, just a fun bucket that they had.
Sure.
But they painted it the color they need.
Sure.
So when you're out trick or treat, when you're handing out candy, understand that it's not just the bucket, and it's not going to say on the bucket.
Right, exactly.
It's going to be the color identifiable.
So starting with the number one bucket that's used throughout America, which is going to be the teal pumpkin bucket, and that is for allergy awareness. Allergy awareness could stand for peanuts, it could stand for chocolate, it could be fruits. It could be a variety of things. I know certain people don't like to give out candy, so they do give out toys of that nature. Slime can contain latex. Latex is also a huge allergy for some kids as well. And then we also have purple, which is going to be for Epilepsy Awareness Month. And Jason and I were talking about this earlier. Usually houses have strobe lights that will be seen from quite some time away that
I grabbed this one because I just love a green bucket.
green. Does it glow in the dark, do you know?
No, the white ones do.
Excuse me.
This is an old one. This is an old green one. Is green a significant color?
It is not.
It is not. Green is my color. If you see me walk up with a green means money.
Green, right?
Put money in here.
And then white stands for infant loss. I know
What
that
do you mean?
it like a family who has lost an infant. So
But I mean,
if they have already a child
yeah.
and they're going trick or treating,
And they have 2 buckets maybe.
Correct.
Okay. I get it. For some that might be cathartic.
Completely understand. I just learned to. Okay.
So, and please understand, these are vintage buckets, so they've been making them since the 90s.
And they don't look like this.
No.
Not nearly.
So these are 90s and early aughts, and this, of course, this green one is more 50s, 60s, 70s type. But you know what? I never used these buckets because this just wasn't enough candy for me.
Yeah. I was personally an old school traditional pillowcase kid.
That's what we used too, pillowcase.
Hi, guys. They just said hello.
Oh, I was in the shop the other day. Well, thank you for watching. So, it's cool that so the bucket, so pay attention to that. But I do want to preface this with, don't be afraid to hand out candy. If you bought a mixed bag of candy, like your mom who spent $60 on a bag of candy, and she's probably watching and now is going to slap you for telling me that, you know, don't not give them out.
Of course.
Because we are trying as a society to help the parents get along. We are not doing things for the parents.
Correct.
We are trying to help them. So if you went out and you bought a bunch of peanut butter cookies or something like that, put them. Well, first of all, if they're in baggies,
right.
Never hand out raw food, meaning outside of a package,
of course.
Because that's just, don't do it. If it's in a package, don't worry about it. Give it to them, because the act of giving that to them will mean more to them than actually eating it, because 9 times out of 10, when they get home, they're not eating any of that candy anyways.
They're so pent up and just excited over the fact that
mom and dad's not giving them a bunch of candy before they go to bed.
Of course. Usually, I don't know how it ran in other people's houses, but my dad, it was mandatory. We took an hour and a half after trick-or-treating, and I had to sort through everything, and then my parents checked all my candy. And that was my favorite thing, because my dad would always put on a scary movie. We'd go through all my candy, and I'd let him have whatever I didn't want, and it was a good trade.
But it's always good to have a variety of candy, because there's some people who, and kids are kids. They're going to bitch. They're going to say, if you hand them a bunch of fruit roll-ups, then they... We'll tell you all about that in a minute. But, they might bitch for a second, but the act of doing it still, they're happy.
Of course, because it's something
kids.
that's theirs. It's something
Right.
that they're going to want to hold on to and make sure that no one takes it, and they're actually going to be responsible with it for once.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
And then I also, the lid for the Boo Bucket. I also, too, I'm sure you remember us talking about this 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Halloween for the first of this month, and how I am a firm...
In case I have
I didn't want it to fall. I've been checking it.
What is with all these low numbers?
Your Lisa said that pillowcases are a tradition. Yes, they are.
They are a tradition, yeah. And tell us, you guys, tell us what your traditions are too as you go.
My dad used to tell me that I used to have to use a pillowcase, and the minute I started dragging the pillowcase, that was it.
Oh no! So my brothers and I, let me tell you. So growing up in White Cloud, when we would go trick or treating, there was a mobile home park at the bottom of the hill, right? And first of all, we knew what houses to go to and what houses not to go to. I don't know how we remember that from year to year, but we did. And so we would go down to the mobile home park, and we'd hit them all except for one, because one gave out pennies, and we were like, really? And in the 70s, you could buy a lot with 10 pennies, in the early 70s, but yet we still didn't want that. You hand out dollars or you hand out food.
My mom tried to tell me that I should hand out pennies, and I was like, are you trying to get me killed?
No. First of all, I can't even give change back to people under the age of 30 here when it comes to coins. Oh, no, save it for somebody. Do you know how a guy tell me that he throws them out the window? I'm like, well, I'm going to follow you around.
Literally.
You know? But, where was I going with this?
Pillowcases tradition.
Oh, so I would carry a second pillowcase.
So you were cheating.
Of course. I was 7. So my brother and I, who 2 years older than me, Adrian, him and I would go trick-or-treating, and we both had extra pillowcases on us, and we would stash our pillowcase full of candy somewhere, so that way nobody saw us carrying two. So we would have areas around the mobile home park where we would
hidden candy. That's the goat. What?
You gotta love it. It's hilarious. We would totally do that, and then we'd come home, and I swear to God, we would come home and we'd bring all of the bags of candies in. My dad would never get upset, but we would never be allowed to eat it. By the time you'd watch a little bit of TV, whatever, go to bed, and we would hear them eat our candy. We would hear them eat our candy, you know. But, I mean, we got it the next day. We got some, but they went through it pretty good to make sure that everything was okay. Because you always want to go through your candy, you guys.
Of course. And if you guys have seen Trick or Treat, the number
So
one
what are
rule.
some of your, what do you have before we go on?
Oh, well, what time is it right now?
6:47.
It's about appropriate time for that. We're about halfway through the show.
I love talking about all this.
Yeah, me too. So my first did you know of the night is since we're talking about colors, did you know that the red and green for Christmas is actually very significant for a lot of people?
Meaning?
So the red usually for most people represents the blood of Jesus, and the green represents the evergreen trees, but that also has a hidden meaning, which is for eternal life.
Right. And I know that the Christmas tree came from Druidism, you know, for the sake of a new season and new bounty. Because we did a show a couple of years ago where we talked about the history museum and how the history of Christmas and how it was moved around and how, you know, it went from one religion to another until it is what we have today, which has nothing really, for the most people, to do with religion. It has to do with getting
presents
gifts and decorating. But for those it does pertain to, you know, it's a sacred day for them.
For sure. A lot
and
of people
they have a
still,
right to go, just like we have a right not to.
Exactly.
So, but I think it's cool.
I think it's very cool to see how the holidays are changing every year. I know a lot of people are trying to break the old stale traditions of like the entire family going to one person's house every year. Everybody,
and that's for Halloween too, because there are people that I know, we have customers that come in and Halloween is their Christmas because they're all so into Halloween and you know, just that type of thing that they actually have all the family over during Halloween.
And that's ironic because I'm also one of those people. Everyone's coming to my house because they don't get kids in their neighborhood, which is very sad. So everyone is coming to my house, and we're going to just be hanging out watching scary movies and hopefully passing candy out all night because it's like my favorite thing to do every year.
So that's a good segue into boundaries.
Yeah.
So and please, you guys, write in, tell us what your boundaries is when it comes to...
Tell us how you truly feel.
Yes. When it comes to those coming to trick-or-treat. So, of course, we have children, and that starts when it's daylight still because of the way, you know, some of the kids have to get back. Unfortunately. But at what time do you cut it off? What is your cutoff time? What is your cutoff age, meaning how old? What do you is your boundaries exist of candy, giving candy out to people who are 16 and above? Do you give candy to people who do not dress up? Do you give candy to, and children? So if it's a child under the age of like 13.
Is it all the way down there? Let me get it.
Look at me. Look at me trying to do something. I love it. So.
Ooh. There we go.
Look at me trying to do something. What did she say?
The popcorn balls.
Oh, God, I used to love those popcorn balls.
God.
But then, you know, in the 70s, there was a big thing where somebody was sticking, here in Michigan, sticking razor blades and popcorn balls and apples. So people stopped passing apples and popcorn balls out. So it happens. Because people, you know, are evil.
So
what was my point, though? What was I saying?
We're talking about boundaries and just...
Oh, yeah. And I guess I said everything. Go ahead.
I don't really... I will give anybody candy, honestly. But you gotta... Somebody... and I get it, not, and we just talked about this. Some children are nonverbal, and that is completely fine. But usually there is somebody with them who is verbal. So they can say trick or treat for them.
Just because a child is nonverbal does not mean they can't hear.
Exactly. And I feel like yelling trick or treat or even smell my feet is still very fun for some children.
I saw a post about autism awareness. Sometimes there are sensory issues that make dressing up difficult, and they could also appear older. Yes, I get that.
And all of that is taken into consideration in my household, but I'm also a firm
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yes.
Cosmic Queer. Yeah, thank you for that.
And I'm a firm believer in that, and I do believe that all of that is very valid and very, very true, and I'm not disregarding that at all. But
you can tell.
Yes.
You have to use your senses when somebody walks up too.
And it's not even the because some people just might not even be able to afford a costume, which is very understandable.
That's what I was saying. That if they're under 13, usually I'll give them a candy regardless.
Yeah.
Because they're children.
So I guess I want to steer away from the autism awareness, because it's not that I don't want to talk about that. I guess it's mostly like the fact of exactly, we don't stop until we run out, and then at least I open the door and tell them I have no candy.
How many pieces of candy do you give?
2 or 3.
2 or 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it also, I guess it really depends on what type of candy I had bought.
Yeah,
like
I guess
if I buy like the larger pieces, then they usually yes, and it says I love bringing up the nonverbal people too, because again, all of that is very understandable, and I'm not taking that away at all. But usually those children are with parents or parental guardians that can friends that can either speak for them or do the job for them, I guess. And it would also make that person, not even just children,
because I said as well. Just because you're nonverbal doesn't mean you can't hear. And when I said that, I meant that if they hear the person who's with them say trick or treat, then over time it could help in their comfortability while trick or treating.
100%.
To hear the person they trust the most.
Exactly. And so they know that that's what everyone says on Halloween, instead of just knocking on the door and just hoping that somebody answers. And I guess like my dad, because I've always went trick or treating, and my parents are older, so my parents always had to come trick or treating with me up until I was like 16, and then at that point I didn't even want to go anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because I was way too old for that. But a lot of people would give my dad schmack about also having a bucket. Man, my dad was 50 years old taking me trick or treating. He should have the Snickers, you know.
No, you know what he's thinking? I'm getting paid for this, whether it's
exactly. He's got to get paid.
And you know what? Most dads would be like, "You're right. Here you go."
Yes, you know what I'm saying. And last year we had this. I gave the girl some crap for it, but she thought it was very funny because I was just teasing her. I opened the door and she literally has like this infant that was born like yesterday in a costume, so I gave her kudos for that. And she just said trick or treat, and I opened the door and I said, and I didn't even see the baby at first, and then I looked down and I said, oh, it's for him, of course. And then I looked right up at her and I was like, or is it for you?
Right.
He obviously has no idea what's going on.
And
she was like, it's for me, this is hard work. And then I was like, I even told her, and I was like, I'm giving you major kudos, because even though he is a small baby, you still bought him a costume, and you still are taking him out, and he gets to experience all the lights.
And you know what's so funny is when they're infants like that, or really small like that, this is more about for her.
Yes, of course, because
he's not going to remember that.
Never. Nope. He doesn't not going to remember what happened 10 seconds ago, and let alone she gets to dress him up in the costume that she wants, and then it matched her.
Yeah, it's something she wants, because soon that's going to change.
Exactly.
So, you know, most of the time when we hand out candy and stuff, and I do have somebody who's nonverbal or who's on the autism scale, or just is shy, the parents are usually pretty good. What upsets me, and I will actually go out of my way to make the kid feel better, is when the parents don't even walk up with them.
I don't like
especially
that either.
If they're really, really small. Because it takes 2 seconds to grab somebody, and, you know, or they're really small, and they're down there talking to friends, you know,
on the phone,
blah, 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 not even paying attention.
Or even taking pictures or anything.
That
you know
irritates
what I'm saying?
me. But I then overcompensate and give more candy to the kid and, you know, laugh with them and stuff like that, which is good, which is what we want to do. But you know what? If you are trick-or-treating with your kids, trick-or-treat with your kids.
Yes, not
because
with people
that
on Facebook.
memory, my father died when I was 10. Okay? That memory, that I would have now. Granted, back then, your parents didn't always go trick or treating with you. They said go out and have fun.
That was a different time.
And but we went out and had fun. I would not be able to hide candy all over a mobile home park if my dad was with me. Trust me. Although he would probably eat it. He did take us when we were really young. Oh yeah, I wanted to read this. I do. Okay, so saying thank you goes a long way with me. They usually get extra
too, Lisa.
since it's rare these days.
Me
yes, too. Yes. And what I love it is when I have a little 5-year-old. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And they're the most thankful for it.
And what's so funny is when you're 5, you don't know to do that unless you hear your parents do that.
And you want to know what's so funny is, Lisa, you just gave me a flashback with that. Last
year. I love that. That was perfect.
Last year, my very last group of kids, they were so polite and so sweet that I just emptied the bucket in all of them and just called it a night because they were so sweet.
Do you get a lot of big kids?
The last year, not really. It was mostly little kids, which was great for me. But the bigger kids that I did have were shitheads.
See, that's just it. Don't approach. Now, I would have an issue. You know, I told this story before. I'll tell it again. Steve's father, Steve's told me about this, and Steve's dad actually told me about it too. And Lisa, you'll get this. The entire football team from Cosno High School decided that they were going to go trick-or-treating. Now, Steve's father was in his late 60s, early 70s, right?
Right.
And lived alone in this house.
Who's going to be wanting to open their door for that?
He carried on the tradition. He carried on the tradition of trick-or-treating because his wife, Lila, Steve and Lisa's mother, enjoyed doing it. So until the day that the entire football team came to his door, scared him.
Of course.
He stopped doing candy.
Yes. And the comment we just got on Instagram says, my sister is 27 and has autism. She goes every year with my mom still. Phenomenal. And I think that it's so important to be mindful of older people as well. I don't discriminate against age. I discriminate if you
have an entire football team walking up to a house.
Mine is like
not dressed up.
The older, and it was mostly, I didn't really have any girl trick-or-treaters, which really bummed me out because, I wanted to see the princesses and the cops and the SWAT teams. I just love the creativity that people have with their costumes, but it was mostly older boys. They would have a backpack on the front of their chest and they would just...
If you're not even going to speak, I'm not kidding.
And I would look at them and I would be like, what does this mean? I don't know what that means.
So if somebody walked up, and I don't care if they were 50, 25, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, I don't care.
Right.
If they were dressed and they were polite and said trick or treat.
You can have the Snickers. You can have the Kit Kat. You can have whatever you want.
Thank you, Miranda. Yes. I mean, you have to be... And even though we're a vintage and antique store, because we have a 25-year-old, we do have some younger people watching. Tell them, just be respectful because you have elderly people in these homes, you have handicapped people in these homes. And when you come up and you're aggressive like that, it ruins it for everybody.
Because now let's take it one step further. We talked about this right when we started the show. Candy is $30 plus tax a bag.
Yeah, now, for chocolate.
Why would I want to get bullied and then give you some of my candy that I just spent $30 on?
And I'm glad she brought this up because candy is expensive and chocolate is through the roof. Thank you, Hershey's. And I'm a big believer that the corporations are making these. That's their fault.
Because they know that we have to buy it no matter what. Yeah. So they're like, we can just price it at whatever.
Oh, I lost it.
Oh, it's okay. You just press that. There you go.
And so, what's the conversation you had with your mom?
So, my mom and dad surprised me yesterday, and they came over to hang out. And the first thing my parents asked me is you still having people over on Halloween Day? And I said, absolutely. We're going to be passing candy out until I don't have any more. My dad said, you're going to be buying a $30 bag of candy? And I chuckled and said, oh, no, I have something that's even better. Personally, what I thought I would be okay with going to Sam's Club, spending $15 on a box of fruit snacks, and getting 200 little bags of fruit snacks. That's 200 kids.
What did your mom say?
My mom said, absolutely not. That's how you get egged. And I said, how?
Eggs are too expensive. They're not going to egg you.
And then once they said that to me, and I was like, you know what, I should have said that to her. And then we couldn't get TP'd either because TP is also very expensive as well. And I'm sure our viewers have remembered from time and time again, we've briefly talked about it. I am in the fitness field. I try to promote fitness in any way I can. And I personally thought fruit snacks were just a little bit of a healthier choice for these kids. And it was also affordable for my wallet as well, you know?
Yeah. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's the act of giving, and when the kids get them, they're not looking at what you give.
Sure.
Some do. Some do look at what you give. But
I don't know. That would be like complaining if you got like a bag of Better Made chips, and I was always so happy to go to those houses that gave out like the chips and the pretzels and the juice boxes.
Oh,
because
yeah. People gave out juice boxes?
In St. Clair Shores, heck yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Do you know I don't remember ever getting liquid of any kind?
Or
I'm sure that they did pass stuff like kids. We had juice boxes back then too.
Sure.
But I don't remember ever getting anything liquid.
Only 1 year.
I want to say that maybe once I got like a can of something, but I think it was because they had nothing.
Oh, no, I also got pop too. I also got pop too, like a can of pop. I've gotten that before as well.
I know, Lisa. I love fruit snacks too.
See, I'm not crazy. Mom, if you're watching, I'm not wrong.
And I'm sorry. If any of you looked at the ingredients, there's nothing healthy in those things.
And fruit snacks, yeah, I know. They're just as bad as candy. But
actually, they're worse on your teeth.
It will make you feel a little bit better.
Right. But you know what? You can go to like Sam's Club. You can go to I would stay away from the branded stores. And I would go to like even Costco, to Sam's Club, to Value World, to any of those places, and buy the big, huge mixed bags of lollipops and stuff like that. Because you know what? Like I said, 90% of those kids are not eating those candies.
No, literally, they're not. They're either gonna not like them, or two, their parents are gonna take them.
Right, because the parents tend to eat all the candy.
Well, yeah, you got to pay a parent tax.
Well, not just that. You're so afraid of what's on those.
Oh, for sure.
You know, in this day and age, that leads me to, you know, and I say this all the time because I think it was such a good thing. We had a customer, you know what I'm going to talk about the baking. You'll get it. So we have a customer who has been a current customer of ours now for 12 years. God, I cannot believe you've been here. What, 4?
Mm-hmm.
And Jason's been here almost 8.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Top
I love the
five
fact
when
that we
you're
keep
having
our
fun.
employees. Why do you think we keep our employees? Because we actually listen to them.
Oh, I say that all the time. All the time. Anytime somebody asks, I always tell them.
Cans of Coke, you remember? Wax bottles.
Wax bottles, yes, for sure. Remember wax bottles.
I loved wax bottles. Not just wax bottles, but Pez candy. Or that candy in the straws. When they would hand out that candy in the straws, oh, I ate those immediately.
Really? Mine was dots, the stupid sugar drops on a piece of paper. And my mom would give it to me, and she would be like, this has to last you 2 days. Don't eat it. And you know what I would do? I'd put one dot on my tooth and go zzz, and pull the whole paper off.
I'm just going to read this.
We did.
My sister's... Oh, okay, you did read that one. So, we're getting a lot of comments about this. I guess this is a hot topic.
It is. Right on the bottom, it says, yes, 1,000% agree. Love this conversation.
Yeah, so, because we don't want to lose tradition.
Of course.
And with the way the world's going, how aggressive people are, how the lack of empathy seems to be happening, I know it's not leaving. It can't be leaving.
Well...
We need to enjoy these little things like having your neighbors come up, because you know half the time the only time you actually talk to your neighbors is when they come and trick or treat.
So you know, I'm really glad we're talking about this. How do you feel personally, and this goes for all our viewers too,
tell us, please,
because I'm like really interested, because I just want to know if it's just like my age, or maybe it's like my parents' influence on my life. But there's nothing wrong with a trunk or treat.
Oh, no, they're everywhere.
But I am also a firm believer that you should also continue to go trick-or-treating within your community, because...
Well, you get to know your community.
Exactly. One, here's the 3 things you're going to learn when you go trick-or-treating in your own community. But that's how he feels right now about people not trick-or-treating in their own community. Scared. So... when you trick-or-treat in your own community, it allows you to meet your neighbors. It allows you to get up close and personal with them, See if they have kids. Your kids can become their friends' kids.
Peek in their house.
Literally. See if they got nicer furniture than you. And then it also allows you to get a sense of your neighborhood as well. Oh, you never noticed that the Johnsons just planted a giant rose bush in front of their house? Well, now you do because you just took a walk around the block. But then the three things that it is that in the negative sense is teaching you is that when you don't go trick-or-treating in your community, this is how I feel, is that it is teaching your kids that they can't trust. Huh, I wonder who that is.
Isn't David home?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that it's teaching you to be scared of your community. Like, why would you not want to go to your neighbor's house when they have the porch light on, you know? And granted, you might just not have parental guardians.
And you know what? In this world, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, like, my parents, they're older, so, like, if I was a young kid right now that could still go relatively trick-or-treating pretty far, I wouldn't expect my parents to be able to walk all over Tom, Dick, and Harry, you know what I'm saying? But they would try, you know? And I feel like they wouldn't want me to not know my neighbor.
So you grew up across the street, right?
I did.
In Tangletown, right?
And actually, my first childhood house is down the street off Harper on
But
Detour.
your trick-or-treating was in that neighborhood?
In this general vicinity,
okay.
Yes, that's correct.
So there was a lot of homes. There was a lot of places to trick-or-treat and stuff. Have you ever taken and gone somewhere else?
Yes.
Okay. So we get a lot of people in our neighborhood because we live in North Warren, and we get a lot of people in our neighborhood from different communities that come up in van loads and or come down in van loads, which I have no issue with because I would do that. If I lived in a bad area, I would do that.
Especially like if you're
as long as you're still
polite
and everything. Because to me, children are children. I don't care where you live.
Exactly.
And if you live in an area that unfortunately causes it to where you can't go house to house, which a lot of people do live in.
Like if you're in a family who lives off of East Outer and Warren, I would not expect you to want to go trick-or-treating.
No, I would want you to come to my 100%. Neighborhood. I would, so that your child has that experience, and I think that's good. But sometimes we get bombarded.
Sure.
To where we run out of candy quick. But because what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that taking you and a bunch of your friends to like Bloomfield Hills or Grosse Pointe because you think they're going to give out better candy? Trust me, they don't.
At least not anymore.
I grew up in an influential area, and our neighbors gave crap out. I mean, there were areas where they gave literally 2-cent candies out in a mansion.
They're trying to save every penny, huh? That's how they became rich.
Yep. So it's a matter of what's best for the child, not what's best for the parent.
And it's also too like well, I guess you could also say that it is what's best for the parent because they want themselves and their family to be safe.
Well, yeah, I mean that's for the children too.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
No, their personal belief that they're going to get something better.
Oh,
because
LOL.
the kids aren't eating the food.
You know, I
actually had a couple do that. They brought their little child up, and I gave them a bunch of stuff because, you know, a couple of years ago we gave out candy bars when you could afford to.
Right.
And, you know, I had a mom look at me and go, "Oh, only one each?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, there's only one of them." "Well, what about us?" Okay.
You get fun size. You get fun size.
You know, it's just like, to me, you're not in a costume.
Right.
You're here so that your child can have the experience of trick-or-treating.
It's.
Why am I paying you?
We're walking on we're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
On that aspect. Yeah. Tell us what you think. I'm looking for, you know, thank you to Instagram for being so quick with the responses. The responses and sending out your ideas and stuff. I love it. Facebook, Lisa, you're doing great. Everybody else, get off your butt. Let's go. Start talking. Lisa's the only one talking. Oh, look. Apartments come to our neighborhood, but I understand why. Absolutely. Apartments are a good one because there's not a lot of green space in apartments.
Sure.
So that for safe walking, it's a lot of parking lots and stuff like that. Bill, great point. And plus, it's not fun for the kid.
Right. Who wants to walk up a flight of stairs and then back down a flight of stairs? Right. And
now, if that's all you have, that's all you have.
No, for sure. And those kids will make the most out of it.
Exactly. But, so that I agree, you know. But I don't want somebody coming from three neighborhoods away where they are giving out the same candy we're giving out because they ran out of homes.
And another thing that's been stuck on the back of my brain up until like the last like 5 minutes is last year these kids destroyed my front yard. Like, parents weren't walking their kids up my driveway, they were just like letting them run, and they were like tripping on like the wires that were holding like my inflatables in my yard and stuff like that. And I'm just, doesn't that make you nervous?
What?
Letting your kid just run up to a stranger's house?
Well, if you're
like, okay, honey, go ahead, and then you're immediately like, the minute they get up to the front door, you're like,
that happens.
It's like, take a picture of your kid,
especially if you're driving from another neighborhood.
Like,
you don't know these people.
Like,
not that you know the people that you live in,
right?
The same neighborhood, but you see them.
I guess like I'm super big on like photos are super important because one day that's all you're gonna have left, and
you're so funny.
Ooh, what does this say?
Oh, that's David. Swearing. Don't swear. I need money. So, you know what? We have 5 million trolls. Come get trolls and hand those out.
He said, F that. I'm not giving any adult candy just because they want to be a half decent parent and take their child trick or treating, which they should be doing anyway.
So we have 1 million trolls, and they're cheaper than candy bars.
Honestly, I mean,
we have 1 million trolls.
But then also my dad, he had a good idea too.
What?
And he immediately was like, well, why don't I just go to Aldi's and they have like the industrial sizes of chips and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yes, that's a great idea.
Handing out stuff at Halloween does not mean it has to be candy. It can be anything that's fun it's fun.
So Lisa, do you feel like obligated to do that? Because she said, when I see vans of people coming,
mm-hmm.
I tend to give them a little bit extra. But now, do you feel obligated to do that when you shouldn't because they willingly drove to your neighborhood to trick or treat in? Or do you just want to be very generous and that's just how you run things?
Did you think for a minute that was her talking?
No. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't like like screaming in the mic.
So, this conversation can go on and on and on and on. And it's so funny because we get a ton of people on and then another ton of people on and then another ton of people on. And do you guys get any more Littlest Pets? Okay. So you want to know what's funny is I had 3 people in today looking for Littlest Pets. 3 people.
I'm just looking at...
Hottest toy in the world right now.
Okay, it looks like you're already a good person because your profile picture's Hello Kitty. So
there will never be Hello Kitty in this store.
I did want to start it off with, girl, you already know they'll get posted, but I'm not sure what your pronouns are.
Maybe somebody's handing out Hello Kitty and Littlest Pet Shop stuff.
And then you know what's gonna happen is like,
could you imagine?
They're literally gonna be in my front yard. Like, I have Sanrio stuff, and I'm gonna come up, and they're gonna put a bag over my head, and then you guys are never gonna see me again.
And the high school one, what is it? Not Horror High.
Monster High.
Monster High.
I love Monster High.
I'm getting asked for Monster High right and left too.
Everyone's so silly. Why would they ask for those? They're not even vintage yet.
They want to because Monster High is what, 15 years old?
God,
10
really?
Years old? Yeah, 10, 15 years old. So, see, the way vintage works and the way repurchasing works is when a child cannot get it when they're young.
Sure.
The first time they make money, guess where they go? To get what they wanted when they were young.
Me. Which is why I have 200 Hello Kitties.
So the funny thing is, right? So the funny thing is we buy back our youth. Okay, and a lot of people talk about, that's why these stores exist.
Yes.
Because we were either told no.
Yes.
Or the parents couldn't afford it. Or you were not good. What?
I'm laughing at
These are all the reasons that she was told.
And I would look at my mom and I'd be like, but Mom, you smoke cigarettes. Like, so we have to have extra money. And my mom would have been like, what did you just say? Mm-hmm. That extra money is my extra money, not for you.
Yes, when you make it, you can have extra money.
God, I'm triggered.
So.
That's why I got a job when I was like 14 and like never not worked since then.
Because you wanted what you wanted when you wanted it. So
yes.
You said, fine, if you're not going to do it for me and you tell me that I can have it, if I can pay for it, you went out and got the money to pay for it.
From the wise words of Maxine Minks, I will not accept a life I do not deserve. Period.
So if you have a ton of, try it. One of the things that I want people to try, I give you this. Somebody said something on Facebook.
Now even my extra money is her extra money.
Welcome to married life. So, I never have a penny in my pocket. I wonder why that is.
The same person.
Mm-hmm. So, try it. I would challenge people. Don't hand out candy. Come in, get something fun to hand out to the kids.
I just thought of a wonderful idea. Right now, a lot of parents are doing fall cleanup.
Just so they can.
And if you're already planning on donating that giant lot of books, why don't you pass those out?
Yes, pass the books out. Because they'll get egged. Because they'll get egged. She just has to have every Hello Kitty item across the world, which is how it should be, David. That's from Lisa. And it's so funny because I showed her the Hello Kitty Barbie. And we were all ooh-eyeing until we saw the price of it.
And then we said, ooh,
like,
oh God.
$444 it was. Wasn't it? It was like something like that.
And it was she's super cute.
She wasn't even Hello Kitty. She was just Barbie wearing Hello Kitty.
Literally, her shirt just had Hello Kitty on and everything was Hello Kitty.
She was happy about it, and now it's in the back of her head going, I need to own that damn thing.
Dang, yeah.
But, I was about to tell a story about one of our customers, and I want to say it because this I thought was actually one of the best things I ever saw or heard about it. I talk with my hands, so I have to set stuff down or they go flying. Just watch the reels from the Caffeinated Conversation show. You'll see things flying all over the place.
Oh gosh.
So customer comes in. She's in the back. It's right before Halloween. And those of you who've heard this, sorry for repeating, but those of you who haven't, this is an idea you might want to jump on.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought it was the cool, you know what I'm going to talk about? Yeah, it was the coolest thing I ever heard. So she has a young daughter and son who go trick-or-treating, and she gets them all dressed up and everything, and dad takes them trick-or-treating. She stays home and makes cookies and brownies and different things, right? And so when they come home and they have all of their candy, they dump the candy out, and they go through it and stuff, but it all gets put into different bags or into a different bag. They eat none of the candy. They spend that entire time going through that candy and having fun eating the stuff mom made, right? So one of the things that they do is, because she was in here buying like little toys and books and stuff like that.
Tchotchkes.
Yeah, just little fun things for kids. And so once they're home and they're eating and everything's done, and they put them in bags and they set them in their bedroom at the end of their bed for the witch to come and take them. And when the witch comes and takes them, she leaves the books, the toys, the stuff like that she bought here for the kids.
That they're going to play with.
And actually keep for the entire year. And do you know, her daughter is now, like, I want to say, it's been probably about 8 years. She came in the other day, and she said that she's going to do that with her kids.
Heck
She has kids. I thought that was the coolest thing, and they donate the kids. So what happened is they tell the kids that the witch comes, takes the candy to the less fortunate children, and they donate it.
See,
and I looked at her and I said, "How much of it do you eat?" And she goes, "Some."
So, well, of course, you got to pay the parent tax.
I thought that was the coolest thing I ever heard.
It is a very cool thing. It's not only it's teaching your kids to share where they need to, and two, it's also teaching them the importance of how their life choices can really alter somebody else's in a positive way. So yes, they did spend all night walking around going trick-or-treating and getting that candy and not being able to eat it, but then they get home knowing that they're going to have a super full belly filled with cookies and brownies, but then again, a good thing, they go to bed knowing that when they wake up
like
the next
Easter
day,
Bunny.
Literally, they wake up
Santa
knowing
Claus.
they're getting more presents and that candy's
Art
going
the
to some
Clown.
kids. Going to some kids who doesn't have it. We got some new comments on there. It looks like Allie. He got scalped by Art.
What comments do we have here going on? I love that idea. Hey, Miss Tina. Who's Tina? Tina. Anyways, so, well, welcome. So there's a lot of things. So Steve had mentioned Erebus, and those of you who live out of the state, unless you watch... What happened?
Pulled my
Oh. Unless you watch, like, Most Haunted Places in America, Best Haunted Houses in America, you won't know what Erebus is. Unless you're an enthusiast on haunted houses.
Or a Michigander.
Yeah. In Michigan, we have the the scariest haunted house in the country.
Is it the largest?
I don't know if it's the largest, but it was voted the scariest, and
nice.
it might have been voted the largest. It is a big one. You're gonna find out tomorrow.
Yes.
So last night, as you can see, I'm wearing the. First of all,
show them the back. The back is fire.
I'm wearing my kitty shirt.
Yeah, no, that is a really
Isn't that
cool shirt.
My Sphinx shirt. So I bought this because we were comp tickets, of course, because we had them on the show. And this is the back.
Fire.
Isn't
Sorry,
cool?
I punched the microphone.
So I felt the need to purchase that. I needed one anyways.
No, yeah, it looks soft.
So we were able to walk through it, and I'm going to tell you, thank you, Steve. Steve Mythos of the Mythos Museum. You should have seen the show that aired a couple of weeks ago. Maybe I'll re-air that.
Yes.
And he's got the museum right behind. We had him on the show and everything. He took us through Erebus, and well, he didn't, but he got us through Erebus. It was fantastic. I'm talking 4 stories of being put through hell and back.
That's what it's for, right?
Yes. Now, it wasn't so scary to where you weren't running out screaming, maybe for some. But it did have like jump scares and stuff like that. But let me tell you, it's physical. Rooms with Steve got caught inside of a room with because they cut you off in some parts. So you have your this is what I loved about it. You have the ways you walk around Erebus and stuff like that. But what you don't realize is as you're walking down one of the hallways to get to the next event, or you're coming out of one, the doors shut and block you from the rest of your.
Yeah, I'd start freaking out. Honestly.
Yeah, so I was trapped between 2 walls, and our friend Joe was on the other side of that, and Steve got trapped inside of a room that had all of these bodies hanging, like 30 or 40 of them, that had little ghost eyes in them, but they were clearly bodies, and he had to maneuver his way through them, and he said that was freaky because he was stuck in there all by himself. You walk through hallways that have floating heads. You walk through the swamp. It was fantastic. There's a lot of crawling. You got to crawl through areas. You got to stoop. You got to slide. You got to do all sorts of stuff. So if you get a chance, go to Erebus, and hopefully they'll be on the show next year. I talked to Ed Tibiris, who I found funny was his last name was Erebus with a T. Tibiris.
They for sure did that.
I thought that was cool.
For sure, play on words.
Steve Shipp and Ed Tibiris, they own Mythos Museum together. He's partner, and so if you go, you're gonna get tickets. There's a line that wrapped around that building. So while you're waiting, go check out the museum.
And since we're speaking of things, almost calling it a day and wrapping it up, Halloween is coming soon.
Thursday.
Which means Friday, Halloween will no longer be available to be purchased in store or online.
So one of the things that some people don't get, because after holidays you usually walk into like Target or Myers or Walmart, and they
mass produced.
Yes, and all of their holiday stuff's on sale, 30% off, 50% off. That's not the case in vintage stores, because that is mass-produced stuff that they overbought.
Exactly.
That they still have stuff. That is the stuff that if you still have your piece that you bought in 100 years, will be in a vintage or antique store. But because old vintage and antique items are not the easiest to come by, vintage stores, antique stores, some resale stores, stuff like that, they will pull, if not the best stuff, all of their stuff off the floor. So there is no after holiday sale on those items because we may not find them again.
Exactly.
So we store them, and our Halloween, we keep some out back there in the oddity department.
Yes, a couple of small things just in case if it's needed throughout the year.
But so as of Friday, we may still have some Halloween up because we're in the process of taking it down. What?
Sanrio automatically, ho ho ho, the Sanrio shop holiday is already open.
The holidays. See, this is how much she loves Hello Kitty.
They're texting me about Christmas and Halloween didn't
she
even happen.
She gets notices when they're opening a new store. I love that. So don't walk in, be conscious of that, because when you walk into a vintage store and you're like, oh, nothing's on sale, it's a little upsetting because we would love to put this stuff on sale, but we will never have it again. And you have to understand so that you have it for next year.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's available for you next year. And no, I know what you're thinking. We do not raise the price year after year unless it's absolutely necessary.
To be completely frank with you, we usually forget about it until it's the week before Halloween and we're about to pull everything back. Then we start realizing that we have it still. What are they saying?
I don't know what she's my friend here in Georgia. Oh, cool. And then she writes, "Hell no, serves him right for scaring me all my." Oh, you're talking about your brother. Okay. He used to go down. She'd be downstairs asleep, or on the couch or something, and he'd go.
Tells me when it stops.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, well then.
All right, we lost you guys for a minute. We are going to be wrapping it up in a second. Sorry about that. Somehow we lost connection. Don't you love the internet?
I hate the internet.
I know.
It's supposed to make things easier and it makes everything harder.
Well, everything's easy until it's not.
Not. Until everything reconnects. Like
right? So what were you gonna say?
Oh, I pretty much was just gonna touch base on the fact that that Halloween is pretty much gonna get pulled in on Friday, and it will no longer be available to be purchased in store or online, except for a couple of things. And then
the Festival of the Trees start.
The Festival of the Trees start, and we're gonna
21.
I was right. Okay, so we're having 21 trees this year.
21 trees.
21 trees.
Do you know when we started doing the Time Warp trees? It was the Festival of Time Warp trees. We started with 15. We're at 21 now.
That's crazy.
21 trees, and this also includes little ones.
I thought last year was ludicrous with little the 19, ones. And now we're adding 2 more on this
year. We put trees everywhere.
No, everywhere.
Everywhere. There are trees on top of cases. There are trees on top of the glass. There are trees everywhere.
Literally.
When you walk in here, by the time Thanksgiving hits, because we will be running, and you will want to mark this in your calendar.
Yes. Ooh.
Thumbs up. No thumbs up? What's going on? And I'm not talking about you.
Oh,
there it is. So mark your calendar. Small Business Saturday. Thanksgiving's the 28th this year. It's late in the season. So Small Business Saturday will be 29th, 30th. Will be the 30th. Small Business Saturday. We are not Black Friday. We are Small Business Saturday.
Period.
Okay. So don't come in on Friday thinking you're getting all these big sales, because you're not. You're going to come in on Saturday. You're going to pick your own percentage sale, where we have stuff from 20% or 25% all the way up to 40% off, $10 gift cards, all these fun surprises and everything. So that is the Saturday, Small Business Saturday.
Got you, Lisa.
What?
She wants a picture of the store when we do that.
Oh yeah, it's nuts because people come in. Literally, we put up the peacock tree. We have a 10-foot peacock tree from 1950, and we put that up. And I usually video when we put it up. I actually have people come in and watch me put that up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this year we have some cool leather trees that we are going to be displaying.
Cool leather trees.
Oh. And but I do want to preface this by most of our trees that are decorated are not for sale.
Correct.
If we have a tree for sale, it will be in its box, or it will be plain or have like 1 or 2 ornaments on it so that it's easy to take down. The tinsel trees, the aluminum trees are very, very hard to find now. When we do find them, even at garage sales, they want $500, $1,000 for those. We do have a few. They will be for display. If you are interested, you can leave your name and number. If we do decide to sell the display trees, then we would give you a call.
Sure.
But we don't usually do it. However, the peacock tree is our personal tree, and it's never been in our house. It has always been here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that funny?
I love that tree.
Uh-huh.
I think it's my favorite tree because all of the big bougie and random ornaments go on that tree.
Oh, yes, they do.
It.
We've got some great vintage, old school Halloween stuff. We got some great Halloween stuff. Christmas stuff. We got some great kitschy Christmas stuff, which is all the rage.
Oh, and before I forget, because it's right on 3:30. Before I forget, we are still taking forums for the decals. So if you're a person who wants to get a custom plate,
let us know.
Made, I will have the forums. I'll make the forum up and then I'll email it to you so we can just hand that to them with all their information on it. You guys can list exactly what you would like, but then there's also going to be a small questionnaire on the bottom, which is going to state, do you want us to get started on it immediately?
Well, because at a certain point it will be cut off because it takes a couple of minutes. It takes a couple of days for it to adhere. So we want to make sure. And what she's talking about is, I'll show you this Halloween thing I just made.
Oh yes, because it's phenomenal and it's giving very Terrifier.
So this is thinking outside of the box when you want to hand out candy on Halloween, because it's just crazy.
And you're gonna hear
an old-fashioned bedpan that has a Halloween decoration on it. These are the Halloween decorations that we can add. They can go through hand wash. They can get wet. You can hand wash them. You cannot put them in the microwave or the dishwasher.
Get all up in there and mm-hmm.
But nothing like handing this over. I mean, if Art the Clown can do it in somebody's head,
right?
Then you can do it in this.
And honestly, right? Lisa, I thought a leather tree would be really cool too.
We've had a leather tree.
Really? Mm-hmm. That seems amazing.
So what else? Tell them everything. Who's saying what, where,
that's
when?
Lisa. She said, "OMG, too cool. Love her." Lisa, you were like our #1 person today. We love that. David, you also did a great job at being super responsive, and we love that. Instagram was popping today. We love y'all for that. But we hope you enjoyed this Time Warp Tuesday just as much as we did. And we can't wait to see you until next week. But
you can see me on Caffeinated Conversations Monday mornings at 10 o'clock.
And we really have Thanksgiving stuff, but it's not a whole lot. So
it's not all out yet.
Yeah, right. Well, like I said, it won't. It's like a lot of people don't really buy things, and
you'd be surprised.
What I'm saying is no, there is turkey blow molds and stuff.
Yeah, but we don't have any turkey blow molds. But we do have
never know.
We do have the platters for turkey dinner.
So yeah, come on in. We're gonna be slowly bringing things.
You're having a turkey. You're having a Friendsgiving.
I am, and everyone's not being cooperative right now, so it's really bothering
So it may just be the two of them.
Yes, very true. Jason already knows how I am. If no one wants to cooperate, then no one's coming. So we again hope you guys enjoyed this Time Warp Tuesday just as much as we did, and we will see you guys next week. But until then,
enjoy the trick or treaters.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, you guys! Happy Halloween!
Bye, and we'll see you guys at this place same time next
week.
Next week. Bye.